Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unlocking one of the most important books in modern philosophy, and we're going to do it by looking at its most surprising part, its poetry. So, let's dive right into this puzzle, because it's a great one. Friedrich Nietzsche, right? One of the heavy hitters. And his major book, The Gay Science, doesn't kick off with some dense argument. Nope. It starts with 63 poems. What's with the artistic welcome mat? Well, this poetic opening is anything but random. It's a totally intentional gateway. You see, Nietzsche is inviting us, the readers, into a completely different way of thinking. He wants us to basically check our old assumptions at the door and get ready for a much more vibrant, lively way to engage with ideas. And he's not subtle about it. He signals his entire project right there in the title. By calling it the Gay Science, or La Gaia Scienza, he's pulling a term straight from the medieval troubadours, and they were known for their, you guessed it, joyful and artistic approach to knowledge. He's telling us from the jump, this is not going to be some somber, dusty philosophy. This is going to be a joyful, creative, and life-affirming science. And if the book's title is a hint, well, the Prelude's title is a straight-up mission statement. Jest, ruse, and revenge. This isn't just a cool-sounding title, it's literally an instruction manual for the mindset he wants us to have. Playful, clever, but also aggressive, before we even hit page 1 of the main text. Okay, so let's break this down and see how he builds this new method. Each of these words is a specific tool he's handing us. By deconstructing this title, we can really get the method behind his, let's say, poetic madness. So here's the toolkit he gives us. First up, jest. Nietzsche is all about using humor and rhyme, because for him, the search for truth should feel like a delightful game, not some miserable chore. Second, ruse. This is about being a kind of intellectual detective, right? You gotta be clever enough to see through the smoke and mirrors of conventional thinking. And third, revenge. Now, this isn't about personal vendettas, it's an all-out intellectual assault on the ideas that he thinks have been draining life of its vitality for centuries. And I mean, look at the contrast here, it couldn't be more clear. On one side, you've got the old way of doing philosophy, dismal, heavy, super rigid. And on the other side, you have Nietzsche's vision, joyful, cheerful, and creative. It's a total revolution in not just what philosophy says, but how it feels. But here's the thing, Nietzsche doesn't just talk about these ideas in the abstract. No way. He brings them to life in his poems through this whole cast of really powerful symbols and characters. Each one represents a piece of the ideal mindset that he's trying to build in us. Take convalescence. This isn't just about getting over the flu. It's a metaphor for a philosophical recovery, shedding old, sick beliefs the way a snake sheds its skin to find a new clarity. Then you have the dancers and lovers of light. These are his heroes, embodying that free, passionate spirit he champions. And all this imagery of light, wind, and serpents, it's all pointing toward freedom, renewal, and wisdom. You see, these aren't just pretty words. They are the goals. So, here's the really crucial point. This whole poetic opening, it's not just a stylistic choice. It has a much deeper, much more strategic purpose. He's not just warming us up, he's training us. Yeah, it's basically a philosophical boot camp. The poems are designed to gently but firmly dismantle our reliance on all those old sources of authority, religion, traditional morality. He's getting us ready to stand on our own 2 feet in a world where those old certainties have crumbled away. And he's doing all this to prepare us for this, the book's most famous, most shocking, and maybe most misunderstood declaration. By teaching us to be joyful, skeptical, and courageous first, he's making sure we're ready to actually face the consequences of this massive cultural event. So, what do you do in a world without God? Well, the Prelude has already given us the answer. You stop trusting in external rules, and you shift that trust onto your own creative self. You embrace what he calls your will to power, which isn't about dominating others, but about the drive to master yourself and become who you are. In short, you create your own meaning. And that joyful, courageous mindset is absolutely essential. It's the foundation you have to be standing on to even begin to wrestle with his most difficult ideas. Concepts like the eternal recurrence, the challenge to live your life as if you had to repeat it exactly the same forever, and amor fati, the idea that you should love your fate, no matter what it throws at you. So, ultimately, what this poetic prelude does is completely recast the role of the philosopher. They're no longer just some passive observer scribbling in a dusty study. No, they become something much more active, much more alive. And this is the new identity that Nietzsche is carving out, both for himself and for his reader, the artist-philosopher. This is someone who doesn't just analyze the world as it is, but actively participates in creating its values and its meaning for the future. And that right there is the ultimate takeaway from this whole poetic gateway. The goal of the gay science isn't just to think new thoughts. The goal is to become a creator, to take your own life, with all its chaos and challenges, and shape it into a work of art. So we're left with this incredible challenge. Nietzsche opens his book with poetry to prove a point, that truth and wisdom aren't just found in rigid logic, but in art, in joy, in life itself. So the question he leaves for us is, if philosophy can be an art form, how will you shape your own life into a masterpiece?